Hello and welcome to WRD Gaming. Today we are actually going to be looking at my world. We are getting into it. I have figured out how to get this in 3D. 3 dimensions. All the heights of the mountains and the depths of the valleys and of the ocean. I have it figured out, finally. So the program is World Machine, and it manages to hold together a 30,000 by 15,000 or 15,000 by 30,000, whichever way it's supposed to go. X, Y, no, X, then Y. So 30,000 by 15,000 pixel map of a world I've put together. So my resolution, this map is at 1/10 of what I can actually create, or by 1/10 I mean 1/10 each direction. So this is 1/100th of the maps, size of the maps that I have exported and that I'm working with and trying to draw in. So I've just finished filling in the country labels, so we'll at least have some idea of where we are looking, what part of the world we're in, and what might be going on in that area. I should introduce the music. The music is AI music created by me. It is my AI music, a fake band that I call Greasy Grimy Gopher Guts, and I have not yet published anything from them specifically. Haven't published any of the 4G's albums, but I will be hopefully by the end of the year. In October, I'm going to go through and find everything that I want to do. So, but without getting too much distracted, let's get into the world, because that's why we are all here. Now, of course, the controls on World Machine are really wonky, so I'm right clicking to scroll down and forward left clicking to move around, and double clicking or both mouse clicking to move like this, and then the scroll wheel does absolutely nothing. But so let's work our way down. I should introduce my continents first, introduce the world actually. Say what this world is, what it is all about, what the basic cultures are, and stuff. Excuse me. So the world is called the AUAC, AUAK, abbreviated, I should say. It is for Avil Un Auris Kea, the ground, the surface ground, the underground, the seas, and the sky. Yes, I have created a language for my world. And so there is, of course, civilizations on the ground surface, like, logically. But, of course, we have to add in the underground civilizations, like the dwarves, which I call the Gar, and various other underground underdwellers in the Un. And then I have those that live on the surface of the sea, and then there's civilizations under the sea, whole cities underwater, and kind of Atlantis style. I haven't done a whole lot of development on the undersea civilizations or the underground civilizations. I've mostly been working on the surface dwellers. This world I have been working on for probably around 15 years, give or take, depending on what point in time I decide that is to start adding in my general D&D ideas into incorporating them into the world, rather than when I actually specifically made this world in Fractal Terrains. ProFantasy Fractal Terrains is where I generated this planet. the maps for it, and it's been a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of years that I've been fine-tuning it and trying to get it to this point where I have 3D, where I can actually get down and look at what the world really looks like. Now, then there's the fourth realm, the Chaos, the air, and that I don't have mapped. I can't map yet. That's Sky Islands. I have Sky Islands throughout my world. I've named over 200 Sky Islands, and there's still a long ways to go. You can see some of them in various spots around on this map, but we won't be seeing any of those here today, because I just figuring out how to do the 3D isolated, masked out 3D in World Machine hasn't worked. I could kind of do it in Blender, but my maps are so huge that Blender just can't handle it, or my computer, my old crappy laptop that is about 10 years old, can't handle it. Maybe 7 years old, but still, for a 7-year-old laptop, trying to do 3D stuff at over 100 megapixel images, these are, oops, the controls are wonky, sorry. It's absolutely crazy. But okay, introducing a little bit more of the world. So the world is situated outside of the Milky Way galaxy, above it. There's the galactic disk, and then this is above it. There is a black hole, which I call Ilek, the Devourer. And orbiting around that, well, there's Ilek's meal, the interstellar dust and gases that are close to the black hole, the accretion disk, and so on and so forth. What you see of the black hole is called Ilek's meal. And then orbiting in a distant orbit, but a relatively stable orbit, are two stars. A yellow and a white star that orbit each other perpendicular to the orbit around the black hole. And trapped in the middle of that, or definitely not the middle, but in the habitable zone, which trying to calculate out a habitable zone on a binary star system, where the habitable zone is not just around one of those stars, but is actually affected by both of the stars, is really, really difficult math. And I've spent a lot of time trying to do correct math for this star system. It's not easy, and Universe Sandbox just completely freaked out. So it's probably not physically possible, this world, but it's a fantasy world, so of course it can just exist anyways. Excuse me. No, get some water here. Apologize for the water. There's a lot to go through, a lot to describe and explain about this world before we really get down to the nitty-gritty. Around the world, okay, so in between, in the supposed habitable zone of a binary star system, there is this world, the Auak, Avalun Aurizkea. And around this world are 4 moons. You have one in the close, going from innermost to outer. We have Vielru, which orbits every 5 days and is the Alru, or moon. Again, I have my own language. I forgot the stars' names. The stars' names are Meroi and Veroi, and they are the Roya, the Roya is the word for stars or sun, and it's Meroi the mother and Veroi the father. And if I remember, I don't remember now off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've looked at the suns. Don't stare at the suns, especially if you got two of them, and especially if one of them is a white sun. I believe the white one is Meroi the mother, and the gold sun is Veroi the father. Then, so of course there's the mythologies around that, the mother and father giving life, and then we have the siblings, the four moons that protect the world from the other evil out there. There's Vielru, that orbits every 5 days around the equator, and that's the Alru of Law, and it is a light gray or blue. Or a white which one was? It's blue. Vielru is blue. Onolru, the Alru of good, and Puolru, the Alru of evil, orbit every 27 days, calculating out the months. And the Vielru is for the weeks. Onolru and Puolru orbiting opposite each other around the world at a 27-degree increment or inclination. Onolru for good, Puolru for evil. Puolru is red. Onolru is either white or blue, whichever is Vielru, the opposite. Can't remember right now. It's bad that I don't remember my moon colors. But then we have Kealru, the Alru of chaos, the moon of chaos, which is gray and orbits every 44 days in a very wobbly orbit. It not only is orbiting like this, but it's going kind of around and odd. It's a very chaotic orbit, hence the Alru of chaos. That's the moons. Then we have there's debris, rings, planetary ring system, which is not just a straight ring, flat rings. It's much more chaotic, interweaving around the different moons and stuff. So it's much more interesting, which then of course all creates an aurora effect. So the auroras are visible throughout the entire planet, and even during the day. Oh, excuse me. Ouch. Yeah. So it's a very, very spectacular night sky. We have, I should say, the current history as I'm writing my story, so telling the story. The Roya, the two suns, are in front of the galactic disk. So we got the galactic disk, the black hole, and the two stars, like that. At the moon, or the Earth, the world, and four moons, all in a line above the galaxy, like that. That's where we're looking at in the scheme of it, and just straight above Earth. If you go from Earth straight up, perpendicular to the edge of the galactic disk, you would get to it eventually. As I think I said it like, I don't remember. I did a whole bunch in Space Engine, setting it up, trying to set up the black hole and the stars and the planet and stuff. Space Engine worked. Space Engineers did not work, or the Universe Sandbox did not work, because that's too focused on math and these orbits and gravity. Whereas Space Engine when I was at least using it, which I believe was at version 9.0, maybe even 8.9, maybe even going back to 7. I don't remember. I've been using Space Engine for a long time. Been working on this for a long time. But okay. Let's dive down, get to the world. Okay. So we're 32,000 kilometer diameter is what I have. Just for simplicity of calculating things out. Have our northern pole, southern pole, Okra. Yes. What was well, Okra, OCR is my word for the snow, for the cold. Yeah, and it's Tevin Okra for the north pole. Tevin, obviously, you see the Tevanial Auries and Tevdarial Auries. Those are the northern seas. And then down in the south is the SQ, ESCUU, SQ Okra for the southern pole, with the SQ Auries, the southern sea, down on both sides there. Since we're talking about the seas, we might as well look at some of the other seas. This big old lower sea here is Gwynedd, and it's divided by the islands, the southern islands, the Escusorial Islands range, and then around the continents. And in the middle of the Gwynedd Auries, Auries, I don't remember what I got. I got some different things listed on this label here for the ocean. The Auries, as said, Avaloon Auries Kea. So that's the Gwynedd, where in this ocean, in the middle of this ocean, is an island, is the prison island. Elian's prison island. Oops, not that button. This. Then over here, we have the Arturial Auries, the kind of a central sea is what that one is. Then this other Shath Aurie, kind of lower sea in this corner beneath the tectonic plates. There's a tectonic ridge where there's not quite islands. These along here don't actually hit the surface. We have our Tevdarial, our northwestern sea. Daru is the word for western. There's the other side of the Tevanial Sea up here. So that's not the northeastern sea, though. That's still just the northern sea. It's the Tevanial. Then we have Sardra, which is named between the Ceres Ario and Drazden, or Draj, the continent of Draj. So since we're on the continent of Draj, let's make that segue into our continents. Oh, well, we'll have to explain the U-bar, the inner sea. There, and I believe that's all of our oceans, isn't it? Yes. There's a couple more small seas that I haven't labeled yet. Chak Sea, Auri over here between continents, between the eastern and western continents. So up to the continents, Draj is our up northern continent, northeastern continent, all this area up here. And as the name implies, is majorly ruled by dragons. In a partnership, civilized dragons that are kind of worshipped and honored by the people, and the dragons respect the people, and the baby dragons are raised by people. I have a story written on that, Dragon's First Flight. It's a short story. And Yeah. Then this continent over here is Linol, and this one is a bit older technology, more ruins. You'll find more stone buildings, stone castle stuff, largely abandoned, especially in the northern areas. Lots, lots of devastation took place up here in the past. And I'll get to the history at some point. Just wanted to get into the world before he got bored with stuff before he getting into the history. So this continent down here is called Vunyar, with a V-U-N and N with the squiggle thing, A-R. Vunyar, where it has quite a few high technology countries, and elves and humans and hobbits, or Hob and Volswyn, and kingdoms here. I'll describe the split of the Thyrals, the Thyre here, and what the Roal Empire is, Roal Union. Down here, our southern continent is Doelel, and that is a bit more chaotic, a bit more ruffians, barbarian type through most of it. However, up in Shax is where the kings of the world, the Psionic Empire, or not Psionic Empire, the Psionic Council meet there, as well as in Fire. But Shax is the city of kings. We'll get there when we delve down in. And over to the left, to the west, or to the east, excuse me. Wow. If you guess, go around the other way, is we have the continent of Vaensal, and I've debated back and forth on Vansal. I had first put the AE, the attached AE, whatever that's called, which is wanted to use that as an AE sound, but it's not. It's the and the word and is pronounced or phonetically spelled with that AE connected. Ampersand, is that the ampersand, or is that something else? I don't remember. Unfortunately, I should know that, because especially with how often I'm using it in this. Though I for the labels here, I don't have that run up. I don't have those put in because I was being kind of lazy and quick with labeling this morning. So it's a lot. It's over 200 countries, or nearly 200 countries, that I had to run through. Okay. That's a good intro. Let's see, what do we want? Where do we want to delve into first? Really dive in. We got these up here, the Northern Islands, and then of course we got the Southern Islands. In here in Arturial, we have the Orings. Let's get down in here and show you what kind of resolution we're really working with here. Here are the Orings. This is kind of the the vacation spot here. We come to relax and have a good time, maybe, and maybe fight off some random monsters. Because there's always got to be something. Find some treasure. Get fire. So here, fire. Northern Thyral and Southern Thyral. Suppose I should explain the Roals. The Roal is a planetary union of advanced technology, advanced agriculture, architecture, specifically architecture, into a kind of Byzantine type architecture of domes and marble brick stones, and just beautiful, spectacular white stone marble, gold inlays, and accents, silver, that kind of stuff. Very, very spectacular. The wealthy, the well-to-do, the elites are the Roal Union. But to the history of the fires. 2 twin sons. Forgotten which one was born first. And so they sent each son from one of the princes to the royal family had 2 sons born, however close twins are usually born apart. But then they were taken off to go be cleaned and whatnot, and be treated and cared for at the beginning of life stuff, and forgot which one was which. And so when they came of age, time to inherit, to make their inheritance, to inherit the country, they decided to split it and send one son to the north, one son to the south with their armies, their followers. And where they met in the middle, they split the land in battle. So it's a bit of a wonky border somewhere around in here. I do have some maps that do have the countries actually colored in, some of them, mostly over in Vaensal. I have a lot of these ones colored in over here on some of my older maps, but the computer I had then couldn't handle it, and then I lost the Photoshop files that had all the proper layers, and so I can no longer edit those and had to start over, and I've had to start over many times. But I have this map and a set of maps, a website that I'm making that has 1,000 maps, 1,184 maps, at each one at 3,084 pixels high, at 7.5 degree measurement divisions around the world, which results in and then so I've had to rescale. I'm working on rescaling to get, because this stretches it out. You see, it's a rectangular map, so we got huge distortions in the north and south poles. So I'm working on rescaling those, tapering each map in to be properly to scale, and it's a lot of work, a lot of work, because it's 1,000 maps I'm working on doing. So, yeah, goodness gracious, there's so much to look at, so much to discuss. I got the Vulcans, or excuse me, not Vulcans, the Valswin, one of their prime areas here in Valwyn. Okay, spoilers. My elves are based on Vulcans, and that goes into the further back history, to roughly 200,000 years prior to when my primary story will be taking place, and coming from Earth, a ship coming from Earth to this world to colonize. Spoilers. Okay, but so I've worked on naming each region of each country. I had in the past done this on a smaller map on a much older computer that was less capable than this crappy laptop, and with several hundred regions named and 1,000 cities named. which I need to figure out how to fill in all again. Update. But here is the country of Kadal, way down in the south, and there's a lot of gold here. You can see what kind of detail we're looking at down here. Oopsies. No, that's over there. Like I said, we're in World Machine. And it's a very simplified, but it doesn't really show. Kadal is a relatively flat country, but there's gold here, is what I've decided. That's the first time I've actually had that happening to me. I've never had it jumping around like that into the different modes. A lot of pirates live here, or dwell in this area. This area is known for piracy. Wait, what kind of... Isn't that like a perfect spot for pirates? Don't you think? This pass, Kudat, Aureo, Kudat Bay, or yeah, sea, small sea, between Katter and Kadal. That's why it's called the Kudkat. And then up here, got a whole bunch of islands, little small rocky islands between the continents. And my main story starts off with the dedication of a new city bridge, which will connect all the different islands, connect the continents to each other. There was one formerly in the past, but it has been severely damaged by various storms or pirates and dragons, perhaps, or other creatures from the deep sea. Majaria and Tridrol. Why do I have I don't mean to have a Star Trek Deep Space Nine song playing. A song about the Polwraiths. We'll skip that one. Bunch of islands and stuff here. Got old Olmaz. Olmaz was one of the first countries I developed way back, more than 10 years ago. Let's get a little bit better here. Going across down through the middle is a line of stones. There's vertical stones, and kind of oh shoot, I don't remember where that spot was, where that image was from, and I'm not going to go looking for it on my computer right now because it's probably very well buried. But you can go to the website and look up Olmaz, find the physical descriptions, and go find Olmaz in Vunyar to see the stone line that goes across the country and out to the sea, where there's a hole. But there's a big library here in Olmaz, and lots of cities around here. I had so many cities marked out around in Olmaz. You can see just the coolness of having it actually in 3D. Oops, too low. Actually, like, it's mountains. I have mountains in my world. It's exciting to see what the world is really kind of looking like. See where the plateaus are, where the ridges are, where the valleys are. We come into, what do we got here? We're in Dracera. Coming up onto Caxacroal. Yes, some of my country names are difficult to pronounce. Excuse me again. Ouch. Oofters. Freyholt. There was a big fire in Freyholt. Used to be a couple countries up here, a couple different countries, and then there was a big, huge fire, and they ended up merging because the fire was so devastating that there was just they couldn't cope on their own. The different countries could no longer cope, so they had to merge. That's probably at the end of the Ubar Empire, which was an empire that's stretched all the way around the Ubar Aurian, the inner sea. Aurian for the sea, inner, something like that. And then to get, this is one of the coolest things that I've done, I think. Canals. Big old huge cut canals to be able to get in and out of the inner sea. Over here, and then down over this side too. Big old hole, which in Fractal Terrains I accidentally made that hole way too deep, and it really screwed up the height maps, made it really difficult to export height maps, because Fractal Terrains will export each map, each section, as its own height map and scaled to that space. So maps next to each other are not the same. Which has been a huge struggle, nightmare. Can't have things uniform if they're not uniform. We got a long, long canal here. And Tenalian actually crosses the sea, or the cut here. I just don't have it labeled that way in this version. Pivaros. I don't know much about Pivaros. I have not created stories for every country yet. But several of them I do have done. Like Dalu. Oh, come on. I should. Actually, yeah, I am good. Make sure that I'm actually recording. That would have been a nightmare if I didn't actually hit record on this. Come on, load in. Oh. It is definitely quite resource intensive to be running this world, and as well as doing the recording and playing music. How hot is my laptop? Ooh. Actually, not too bad. I got the fan running underneath it. Come on. Well, we're having loading problems. Oh, come on. Oh, well, anyways, Dalu over here originally was a desert. This whole area down here is supposed to be desert. Oh, jeez. But it's ended up losing some data and Fractal Terrains, or with the update to 3+, Fractal Terrains messed up my modified climate, and so I lost that this was all supposed to be desert here, because the world rotates counterclockwise or opposite of Earth, and so we get sandstorms, dust, sand and stuff coming from the deserts over this way, over here. So Dalu is split off. It's all of this area is supposed to be desert, but it's not. Okay, we're finally loaded in. Maybe we'll see if it cuts out when I scroll in like that. Yeah, see, it's cutting out a little bit again. We see the line there. That is as good as I have been able to get for the divide in the height maps, because this world is actually made up of two height maps, the left side and the right side. and they were not the same. I had to adjust them in Photoshop, which was not an easy thing to line up the colors. Spot that I found really cool over here. Let's see if it'll load in correctly. I want to put a big ol' huge bridge right here. And one of the attempts at getting this in 3D, in the early attempts, this was scaled or fine-tuned out the little, like a path along here. There's like a very well-defined trail or road. It's like a flat line going around the mountains. Oh man, computer is greatly struggling, of course. I wish this would load up so I could discuss things. Here's over Cleviel, where my main story is taking place. In here, somewhere up in the mountains. I haven't pinpointed it, the spot exactly. I think it's here. This lake here, that is what I'm going to be using, and I apologize for the low resolution on this. It's usually much better, but since we're trying to do so much, the computer is struggling. So, I think I will take a break, let this load in, I'll stop the video, and I'll splice it back together. So let's see what that does, if that will help with loading stuff up. Okay, we're back, and things are... I've reduced the resolution on the preview, and so it should run a bit better. But I've changed up the image up here so you can see exactly what this is. This is one of my old maps that I made up, kind of to show like the galaxy and the black hole and the different moons and the poles. And this is before I put in the ice caps, and then you got the two stars. And yeah, I was right about the golden father and the white mother. And we've got actually Pool, like I said, Poolru is the red, Onolru is this white, Kaelru is gray, and Vielru is the blue. So I think I was wrong on those, but there's that old map, and the compass rose says east is Lentur. Teven, Daru, Escu, Lentur. Going counterclockwise. That was but yeah. So let's get that back up there. Switch back over here. So here's where my main story is going to be taking place in Cleviel, in Berryshire Town, Berryshire Valley, up here in the mountains. And one of these valleys, I haven't quite picked out which one's going to be best for the old lake, and where the elves are hidden or are hiding. Okay, apparently I have a short in my cable here. Everything was all messed up. Okay, now we're squared away. Anyways, okay, back over here. Yeah, so Berryshire Valley will be in one of these valleys over here, and then they'll have to deal with some poisoned water and stuff, and go up to the to the sanctuary library, something. There's part of a story written. Have a couple chapters that are partially written. A couple of years ago, I had a single day in which I wrote 20,000 words, and I have not been able to have anything remotely like that since. Yeah, 20,000 words in a single day. It was glorious. It was one of the most wonderful writing days anybody could have ever imagined. And I have not been able to repeat it. Probably just don't have the right strain of cannabis to help me through the seizures. To keep the brain actually working and flowing properly and creative. But so you might notice there's this. Oops. Oh no! What's just happened? Uh-oh. Oh no, we've just frozen. Oh no. Well, might have another splice here. Yep. Okay. Come back in another moment. Okay, now we got it. Restarted the program. So, as I was saying, this path along here, this coastal path, I really like how World Machine generated this. I don't know if that's the actual way Fractal Terrains generated the height maps, or if World Machine has done this. But either way, I really like it, and to me it's the coastal road, and it's doing this around the every continent, everything that it's sea level, but it works really well for a coastal road. Just have a path that goes along the entire length surrounding the continent, the whole circumference of the continent, and you have your farmlands in there along the roads and the cities and the larger spaces where it's flat. Makes a very convenient civilization development spots. So whether I will decide if this was natural or is all manufactured, the manufactured path where they went through and graded out the land, and made it flat. I'm not sure yet. Haven't decided that, because this is a new visual story ideas and new story ideas that are coming to me because of being able to finally see the world in 3D. There's still some hills and the way I've got the erosion working right now here in Fractal Terrain, or in World Machine, is a little bit wonky, but yeah, it is. Big continental divide through here. This is something that I drew in. I made this. You start with a basic map, a fractal map in fractal terrains, and then go in and modify it, do some different effects, erosions, and increase detail, and throw in the rivers and the lakes. You can see you've got the rivers drawn in here, and that's it's not AI. This is long before AI. This is generative terrains, not AI stuff, not artificial intelligence creations. You could argue that it's kind of an extremely small version, data set AI. pre AI, not almost, but is a practical pre AI thing. You plug in a whole bunch of data, a whole bunch of math, and it plugs out something that looks like a realistic terrain, realistic world. But it's all mathed out. And okay, so there was I rewatched, and as I was restarting the computer or the programs and stuff, I rewatched my first video, and I realized I totally failed to explain one of the most important aspects of the Roal Union. What is it a union of, really? And it is the Roya, the suns, and the Alvru, the moons. So it's the union of the two cultures that follow the suns, the Roya, or following one of the four Alvru, the moons. That's where the Roal Union comes in. I had to write that down, so I remembered to do that, to specify that, because that was a huge thing that I forgot to mention. I think Araya, forgive me, Araya, I need to move over here, as Araya is supposed to be the pass for airships to go through between the different mountain ranges. Yes, because we have sky islands, we have to have airships, and airships have to have routes that they can pass through, so that they don't get too high into the mountains, or don't get bottomed out into the mountains. And yes, yesterday or 2 days ago, I did some. I asked the Google search AI for help with the climate of sky islands, and it turned out the idea that I originally had with them being floating around 50,000 feet is definitely not feasible. That's not habitable. And then trying to balance that trying to make the sky islands habitable, make 50,000 foot elevation. There's a very important sky island over here. We're in the White City, which is another big point where my story will be taking place, is down in here, in Kishroal, the White City of Kishroal. Kishmakayev. What was it? I think that's, yeah, on the Kishmakayev. Kayev being the sky island, the island in the sky. The sky, the ground, is literally what it means. Kaya Avil, Kayev, sky and ground, sky ground. But a lot of my naming for things is similar to that kind of combining words. It works well for a language development. I should say Hobtrol. Here's the home of the Hobbs. Slightly modified from the Hobbits, but they are the Hobbits, but we call them the Hobbot, with an O, Hobbot, or maybe a single B, instead of Hobbit, Hobbot, just to avoid copyright stuff, like the Velswin instead of Vulcan. Oops, that's a typo there. That's only supposed to be one T. Thon needs to be different. And actually, I think that's supposed to be Ethon, actually. So no, that T needs supposed to be an E. I need to remember to try to fix that. Remember to fix that, not try. There is no try. There's do or do not. That was my worst Yoda ever. Forgive me for that. But yes, we must pass through. Our story, main story, will start up in here in Claviel. They will travel by road down into to the point over here into the city of Quagloria, where they will pick up an airship that will take them down through here, through the pass where Araya is supposed to be, around past Thnika where all the chocolate is. 10 points if you get, 10 points if you catch the reference on Thnika and chocolate. And then down around here through Agranural. And I think actually I'm not sure, I haven't figured out where it's supposed to be taking place. But the airship is going to be attacked somewhere along the way here. Probably close up here. They get pushed off course. Yeah, that's right. Come in through here, get pushed off course from a storm into the mountains where the Ungar, the Gar of the underground, there's the Ungar and the Avgar, the underground dwarves and the above ground dwarves. And so somewhere up here to get lost and have to go meet with some dwarves and save a city, save a dwarven town up there, and then manage to come back down this way somehow and find another airship or something, or come down to the coast and take a sailing ship around down out to Kishral, to the White City, and then from there have to take the bad guy, the criminal, to Elion's Prison Island, as I mentioned at the beginning. The first land thing I mentioned, Elion's Prison, where the prisoners basically make their own cells. You see, look at this, the detail here, the resolution. And I've got even better resolution available. Just my computer definitely cannot handle it. So then they'll have to go from Prison Island towards land. Up this way. The currents and storms send them up this way. And then they land up on shore and come down here to where the celebration, the New Year's Day celebration, will be taking place. That's gist of my main story. The route. Then there's so much, so much. Down here in the Cypernor, where the owl folk live. That's the owl folk. I should say here in Elefol and Frololra, where the goat folk live. I can't remember what I call them. And up here in Leolin and Valdel, where the Wolvians are up in this area, out of wolf folk, dog folk type. Cation are down here, and then other places as well. Oh man, can't forget the penguin folk. Yes, I got penguin folk, and I've got explanations for all of these to exist. It's very many different races of Chias. Chias or Caius? Chias. Um, of part human, part animal creatures or races, and lots of mixing, lots of racial mixing, and lots of acceptance and tolerance, and humanity and cooperation and peace. And that's a fly on my neck. There's no peace for flies. Though maybe the fly folk might object to that. And of course, we have races that live on the sky islands that have wings, are absolutely magnificent. And, okay, we're struggling with loading right now. But just to show you the names of all my places and the different geographies of my world. This flies. I kill a fly and then there's another one. I kill it and there's another. I kill it and there's another. I kill it and there's another. The Cliffs of Asprog. This a model after the White Cliffs of the UK. Of course, I have not gotten to the point of painting in the landscapes properly to where it actually looks correctly, but big cliffs there. Oh yeah, here's the prime feature here. Oh, not my ear. Oh yeah. And, oh yeah. The U-bar is a boiling sea. It is very hot, this water, and not completely boiling, not literally boiling. Close to, but it's more bubbling. It's a very bubbly ocean, inland sea. Kizak and Iniandello, Jude Cruel. Oh yes, and there are of course cities lining the canals. The walls of the canals are civilized, are cities built into the walls. This is of course really doesn't show how steep I envision it. It is very broad, very wide slopes, and well, I want it to be vertical cliff faces. Just doesn't quite have the resolution that I want yet. Yeah, this is not high enough resolution. Trying to create an entire world on a computer is not easy. We have to have our volcanoes, of course. Here in Inyanel. Dill. I think I spelled dill wrong. Yep, I spelled dill wrong. That's supposed to be a Y, not an I. Another typo I need to fix. I wanted to properly look at. Is this the one that didn't load in the path? Oops, that's a little too low. There we go. Where is it? Here it is. Isn't that be just a cool kind of Rivendell type setting? You imagine Rivendell at about 100 times the size as a full city, massive monstrosity of a city, or at least multiple cities around here. Yeah. We got the Bryn Mountains, where a lot of our mining takes place. Lots of mining in here for iron and other stone metals and things. And Craig's Crags, which are not labeled here. It's not named yet. No, it's not an official name. Craig's Crags. Ooh, that's a story. That is a deep, dark... Ooh, that's a story there. But yeah, here's what I mean by where I should have the A and E connected. That's supposed to be a single letter, not two letters. But I was lazy. Let's see, let's see. Over to the City of the Kings. Here in Chax. This area, this bay, would be similar to the Grey Havens at the end of Lord of the Rings original trilogy. And I guess Valinor in Rings of Power. I think that's what it was. Or was Valinor outside of past? Well, I think you know what I mean. That horrible show. But you got the mall here, big flat area. Ooh, one of my favorite spots. Here we go. Ithana and Kuln. Very flat, low-level areas, very flat areas, where a lot of water flowing through. So there's big cities here and a huge aqueduct system going across to keep the water flowing in the warm summer months, and all the way around. And huge trade hub here. And the Dade Empire, or Domrion Empire. I don't remember what I called it exactly, but there's an old empire there, the Dades and Doms and Domierskin. Candale and Thism and Mir after John Muir, inspired by, yeah. And Cypernor with Cyprus. Let's see, what other... The most poisoned seas in the world. Below the most poisoned country in the world. Sorry. I have incorporated my personal life into the world in some aspects. And so this is so named for my ex-fiance. And some of it was my fault. A lot of it was my fault. My regrets. But still, nonetheless. So this is highly poisoned water. There's a poisoned spring up here, and it fills this body of water here with poison. So they cannot... Those that live up here cannot travel out to the ocean by way of water or even by air across, because it fouls up the air in this area. This is a very, very, very treacherous area to attempt to pass through. You can attempt to try to take the coastal road, but it's still a difficult pass. Easiest to go all the way down through the harsh desert than to go around Alros. You don't want to go around Alros if you can avoid it. But Darlin and Arenia are great places. Darlnan and Arenia. Arenia is the sports capital of the world. We got the old Saris Empire. Yeah. I don't know why I chose to go with Saris, 'cause, yeah, it's far different history than the Rose. Of course, Ariza has no history either. Not much of it is based on history, personal history stuff. But anyways, I apologize if anybody is offended by that. Sincerely apologize. I don't mean to be harsh on my exes or friends and things, but I will write it better, maybe. I will write it well. Yeah, there's so much. The different levels here of the Drajden. Let's come down here. I've got all these named. The upper, lower, middle, high Draj, mid Draj, different regions. I've named all of that, and each of these islands I have named on other maps. There's a lot of food. It's produced up here. Not actually sure if that would really be possible. It's pretty far north. That's like really far north, but yet I decided that area was going to be a food producing region of the world, but they can make it work. Ow. Oh, dagnabbit. Are we gonna start having seizures now too? Ouch. Ow. Well, what else can I get into in my world now? I've named all of these. Each of these islands I have names for. Each and every one of those has a name and a basic idea written in a basic prompt. Not an AI prompt, but description of where it's located, what the basic shape is, the elevations, and what terrain might be there. If there might be something special, buried treasure, that kind of thing. There's a lot. And then, of course, there's all the sky islands, as I was saying, which I determined that I'll have them, instead of being at 50,000 feet, they will be around 8,000. Which is much more manageable, 8 to 12,000 feet elevation. I guess I got distracted and missed discussing that. Pretty violent area up in here. This would be orc and ogres. Giants. Giants are quite in a lot of places, actually. The giants help with shipping over land, pulling large crates or large cargo across land. Oh man, technology! I even gotten into the technology. It's what I would call a steam gleam rather than steampunk. So it's like a clean steampunk, the clean coal, if you would, but more also my own idea of a magnopunk of magnets. So it's magnetic turbines. So a drum and a ring around it, a cylinder around the drum. I guess two drums interlocking with pulsing magnets around them, so that it would cause a spin, cause a centrifugal motion, which could drive a vehicle or of some sort, or an airship, or a water pump. Though I have done the math. My story starts off after the bridge dedication ceremony, is a race, like kind of an Olympics type thing, a global relay race that takes place over through the four different realms, across the ground, and through a city, through farms and mountain, and down a cliff, onto the ocean surface, then underwater into an underground cave, and then up into the air, and up to one of the sky islands. And so I've calculated out the each of the 27 teams and their time through the route at the distances that the route takes. And the vehicles are averaging on land about 12.5 miles per hour. Very slow. So it's not, maybe not necessarily an exciting race, but or a fast-paced race, and that's the easiest part of the trail, of the track, the course, is they're going at 12.5 miles per hour. The lead vehicle. So it's yeah, be interesting. But man, I just like showing off everything in here. Come down a little further. The volcanoes and mountains, and there's a lot of other things that I'm not discussing. A lot of spoilers that I'm not gonna go into, that just make this world even more complicated and in depth and insane of a project that, like I said, I've been working 15 to 20 years on. And I do have a lot more, and all the regions in here, and there's 100 regions in here, 100 cities, or maybe a couple hundred cities here that I've named. I have, or well, down here. Here's where it is. Down here, there's 100 cities here that I have named, and then over on this side as well. I just have to update the maps and stuff. Oh, so much I have done, so much I have to redo, to catch up on again. And oh yeah, the craters here. That's the planet getting hit by a asteroid, meteor or something, making that big old huge crater there, and this crater here, and the history going back. It's been 1,500 years since 1,000 years of quakes, of earthquakes worldwide, of Aoat quakes, Avil quakes, I guess. Actually, maybe Unquakes. I guess it'd be Unquake because it's underground. Yeah, the earthquakes originate underground, so I guess it would be Unquakes, is what I would call them. There, I'm doing some developing creativity as on the fly. Yeah, about the dragons. there's the I mentioned the Wolvians and the Owl folk and the Goat folk and Dog folk and yep, Cat folk, and there we go. We're just about done here. There's Dragon folk, not various kinds of Dragon folk, Thrajkin and the uh, and the Droj, yeah, Drajkin and Droj, which are two very, very different kind of dragon humanoid races, and they do not like being confused and mixed up. They will get very upset if you mix them up. Yeah, that's fun. Oh man, the Alru stones that are scattered throughout the world, and all the tunnels to the underground. I mean, this isn't even showing all the underground cities and civilizations that are all interconnected. And then again, all the I don't know how many sky islands, a couple hundred sky islands, several hundred sky islands that have cities on them and are named, that I have named so much. I have named. Whoa. That's this has crashed, so we'll call this an exit there, and then switch back over here. Oh man, yeah, but if for those that have been watching any of my other videos and other channels, this and the few things I've done on my gaming channel here and over on my reaction channel or my reading channel, which doesn't show the world, I should maybe read what I've written so far. It's far from complete. Oh my goodness. I don't do as much daily writing as I should. Most of the time my brain cannot function. Just you get to I'm at the point where it's the equipping for the journey, for the primary journey. So it's going to the different stores, the different in-town shops to pick up the adventuring gear that is going to be needed, and things like that. And so it's more of the low stuff. It's an in-between state where I got myself stuck in a couple years ago, and I haven't been able to write myself through it. And I should probably just pick up on a later point in the story, a later chapter, and just write on that. Which I've got notes, tons and tons of notes for all the chapters, and stuff. I know what I want to do. I know how I want to do it. I've got the second book planned, and I've got a bunch of side stories planned. What is this bus doing? Why is the bus deciding to stop right next to me? Ouch. The diesel engine from the bus RV that is parked right next to my RV is now triggering my seizures. Oh, he is. Ouch. Is he coming out? Well, okay, he's opening up his door. I don't know, is he gonna come over here? No, he's not coming over here. Okay, good. Ouch. They were parked on the other side of the parking lot for most of the morning. Why did he drive over here to walk up that way? Oh, whatever. Anyways, I'm gonna have to call this a quits. I've discussed a lot of my world. That's awesome. I'm glad I got stuff down. I will be definitely re-watching this myself to get more notes and ideas and be going through my world more often, or frequently. I've been doing so. Um, it's a long project that I'm working on. Um, we'll see if it ever amounts to anything. So, ow. Okay, I gotta go. Catch you on the flip side. May the chaos of your existence be beneficial.